Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Talk. My name's Chad. Take a dive with those sports. And welcome to the upcoming college football season. This is my top 25 coaches poll preseason reaction video. We'll dive into the top 25 that the coaches decided this is their preseason favorites. And kind of give my 2 cents for what little worth that really is. But before diving all that, if you could go ahead and give me a thumbs up, especially like the content provider, you really please you two guys help front this channel out. You guys will subscribe. I love you guys review my work. I love you all for doing that. Not many of you subscribe. It doesn't cost you a dime. Helps me provide more entertainment value for you. Now I'm just going to go 1 down to 25. One of the first caveats you kind of could throw out there is Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia all receive first place votes. So did another school, and one you would not think of, and somebody who had to be high put this school as number 1, and that is Texas. I don't think Texas is quite there yet. Probably someone in Longhorn Nation that really loves them, but we'll see how it goes. But we'll go ahead and start off with the top 2 ranked schools right now, and that's Alabama and Ohio State. Both these guys are returning their starting quarterbacks. The quarter teams have returned. They're poised to face off at the end of the year, and I have a feeling it's going to be a Tide, Buckeye type of season. I would have been fine with Ohio State 1, Alabama 2. Either or, really. But I get the love for Alabama, so I think Nick Saban has a slight edge in that department. So right now, I really don't have a problem with 1-2. Number 3 is Georgia. Now with Georgia, they got to stock up their cupboard. They lost a lot from that magical season they had last year when they finally, toppled Bama to win the title. Kirby Smart will have that school coming buzzing, and they're going to be one of the top teams in the SEC, no doubt about it. You probably see Alabama and Georgia square off in Atlanta for the SEC title. I don't think you won't have any arguments there. I think they're slightly overranked at number 3, but this is the defending champion, so we'll give them the edge of anyone else. Number 4 is Clemson. Now with the Clemson Tigers, last year it started off horrendous. That was not definitely the Tigers you normally expected. Dabo Swinney just had a hard time getting the team focused and move in the right direction, trying to get the right plays to stimulate that team. But once they got on track, they almost made the ACC championship game. Fell a little short. So I have no doubts that Dabo Swinney will have that team firing all cylinders right out the gate. So them at number 4, they might be a little high, but doing the track record of Dabo Swinney, you can't blame Clemson being at 4. Number 5. This is definitely a over ranked team. This team I like. You might see right back over here in this little slide right there. That's Notre Dame. Now Kelly's out. He left ship to go down to LSU to join the fracas in the SEC National Football League, and hand the reins over to his defensive coordinator. So this is his first year as a head coach. He coached during the bowl game, but Notre Dame has a history of not winning bowl games anyways, so I didn't really take that too much. But the players love him. They are supportive of him. They're backing him. So I can see Notre Dame making probably a few surprises here and there, but them ranked 5th right out the gate. No, sorry. The Irish definitely are not 5th. Top 10 possibly, but not top 5. We'll see after that first game, but I'll go into some of those early season matchups that can really shake up the polls right out the gate. Number 6 is Michigan. Harbaugh had a glorious season, finally topping Ohio State, finally winning the Big Ten, only to get blown out in the playoffs. So I think Harbaugh is going to have his team fighting again to get back into the picture. Can he get past Michigan State and Ohio State? Those seem to be the two biggest thorns in the Big Ten for him. Can he, repeat as Big Ten champions? Me, no. But I would put them at least 5. I think that's just I think they'll be that good. A&M comes at a number 7. And if you've been looking at the off season between Jimbo Fisher and Saban and their battle back and forth about NAL and all that stuff, so there's a lot of bad blood between these two. A&M should definitely make some noise. They just seem to get the recruits, and Jimbo Fisher's a decent coach. He will get a quality team out there on the field. A very competitive team, and definitely probably up there in terms of trying to take that West Division. Will they have enough to tackle Bama? No. But they'll definitely make some noise. Number 8, Utah. Utah's right now the darling of the Pac-12. They're the most consistent team right now in the Pac-12 since they joined joined the Pac-12 when it was the Pac-10, and they joined, bringing in Colorado to make the Pac-12. They've been the most consistent there. I think they're ranked a little low. I will put Utah up a little bit higher, possibly in 5. I say either Utah or Michigan, number 5. But they're definitely one of those teams that could represent the Pac in the playoffs if given the opportunity. It's only time will tell. Now the next 3 are interesting. That's Oklahoma, Baylor, and Oklahoma State. Now with these 3, for me, Oklahoma State's the better of the 3. Gundy's will have this team, prepared to take on everything. Oklahoma's going to replace Lincoln Riley, who left to go to USC. Some of the talent that actually transferred out because of Riley left will kind of hamper the Sooners. But OU always seems to find a way anyways, regardless who's the head coach. They always find the talent. Baylor, I think, won't be as good this year as they were last year. They should definitely be competitive. I don't think there's be any question about that one, but I don't know if they're going to be in the top of the Big 12 this year. So this one, I would have Oklahoma State ranked higher than those of the 3. But putting those 3 close together right at the gate, I think it speaks volumes where the power is in the Big 12 compared to what it used to be. Number 12, Oregon. The Ducks is never one of these teams that always seem to be very consistent as well, always in the running for the Pac-12 championship. They haven't really had much success after that. But the Ducks is one of those teams you always expect to be there. Last year they had a hard time closing out games, which really kind of affected them, and where they ended up getting beat by Utah in the championship. So I think Oregon will have a chip on the shoulder, and they'll definitely be challenging Utah once again for the Pac-12 title. In-state is definitely a program on the rise, of one to watch out for in the ACC. With them being number 13, I have no issues with that one right now. That's a good spot to put them. You give them notice that, hey, we're looking at you, but we're not too sure yet. Michigan State at 14, definitely a little low. They should be a little bit higher. This is definitely one of those schools in the Big Ten that always performs well. So them at 14, a little low. I think they can knock off Michigan this year, and we'll see what happens beyond that. All right, number 15 is USC. I think this one is more of the hype surrounding Lincoln Riley arriving in L.A., trying to bring some of that swagger he had at Oklahoma out to the Pac-12. I think the Pac-12 gets more notice when the Trojans are up. With where the focus goes through USC, everyone notices that. But I think that's because of Pete Carroll and his days there and all the quarterbacks that ran through there. They were great college quarterbacks, just never really manifest very good NFL quarterbacks. But with Lincoln Riley coming in there and the talent he brings with him, I don't think it'll be ready this year, but they should be decent enough to get a bowl bid. possibly 7, 8 wins this season. But them starting at 15, I think it is a bit high for them. That's a lot of pressure, maybe, on Riley, but I'm sure he can handle it because he's always been a top 5 ranked school for a while. So, but for me, USC is ranked too high this early in his Lincoln Riley's tenure at USC. Number 16 is Pitt. For me, Pitt's not going to repeat that magical season they had last year because that ran through Pickett, and he's gone. He's still playing the same stadium, but he's no longer at the University of Pittsburgh. I don't see them rekindling that magic they did last season. I don't think they're a top 25 team. They could prove me wrong, but that's just my take. Miami at 17. The talent in the U has gotten better. The swagger at the U has gotten better. The U could return to some of the form. And they continue the trend they're going. Put him at 17. Perfect spot for him. Texas at 18. Now, I think this is a good spot for Texas. I know there's still question marks dealing with some of the with that program, but I do think that they're trending in the right direction, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. Maybe it's just the news of Manning committing to Texas has kind of got the buzz already surrounding them. We'll see what happens, but Texas should be part of the number 4 team back the Big 12, so we'll see how that one kind of goes. Wake at 19. I think it's another one that's overhyped right now. They're not going to repeat either. They're like Pitt. They won't repeat. I don't think they're top 25. Wisconsin, ranked too low. They always have great seasons. Yeah, they normally get about three losses in a year, but that seems to be the typical Wisconsin Badger football. They're always in the hunt. They always battle up there with the top with Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Iowa, and Michigan State. Those are their, the cream of the crop when it comes to with the Big Ten. For me, Wisconsin's ranked too low. Kentucky, they got some pieces to kind of replace. But I do think the Wildcats on the gridiron is going the right direction, so putting them at 21, I have no issues. Cincinnati at 22. Here's the first non-Power 5 program in the top 25. And with Cincinnati, they have to replace a few key aspects of that offense. But Luke Fickell turned down big money to go to major programs to stay at Cincinnati, to continue what he started. Cincinnati will be going to the Big 12 in a couple seasons. I think by that time frame, he should have the talent in place to really compete for the Big 12 title right away. I don't think they're capable this year. They should get probably at least 9 wins this season, but I don't see them repeating what they did last year. And them being at 22, that's a coin toss for me. Number 23 is Arkansas. Now, with Arkansas, this is definitely one that could go either way. They were doing great in the beginning of the season, made some key wins, and then just kind of snubbled at the end of the season. If they continue that minimum throughout the season, the Hogs would definitely go wild this year. They're not going to win the SEC or even the SEC West, but they will definitely turn some heads and probably get a 8, 9, maybe a 10-win season this year. Well, who knows? Ole Miss, this is another one that could continue the way they're going. Lane Kiffin has got the Rebels believing in themselves, and I can really see them also making some noise, but they have to replace their star quarterback as well, so there's some question marks there. So bit of 24, I think, is a good spot for them. It could be a little higher. For me, Arkansas and Ole Miss should probably be in the high teens than the 20s, but that's neither here nor there, and it's pretty much right in the same wheelhouse anyway, so no worries. And then for 25 is Houston, the other powerhouse out of the American, along with Cincinnati. With the Cougars, I can see them making a good run. They'll probably be one of the top teams in the American this year. They could be making that New Year's Six bowl bid once again. Playoff bound, doubt it. They're number 25 in the preseason, so I highly doubt they'll make the top 4 unless they just run the table and beat everyone they play. But even then, I think they'll still find themselves outside looking in, much like UCF was a few years back. But that's the coaches poll top 25. I'll go with some of the teams I think got left off that should have been in there. Really? No Hawkeyes? This is a team that always find themselves in there. Now I understand they're missing a few pieces as well, but they always generate quality teams year in, year out. There's very few times they never produced a bowl-bound squad. They definitely should have been ranked. Penn State. Once again, no love for the Big Ten. As you look, most of the top 25 seems to be SEC schools. The Big Ten only has 4 in there. What SEC will have, Alabama and Georgia and A&M. And it takes a little while, but then you get Kentucky, Arkansas, Ole Miss. So they got 6 out of the SEC. Iowa and Penn State Pirates have been over a couple of those, but it's preseason, so take it with a grain of salt. You'll see Iowa and Penn State in the top 25 soon enough. BYU, I know they got to replace some talent, but BYU is another one of these schools that always seems to grab talent no matter what, and they'll be heading to the Big 12 very soon, so they'll definitely be considered then a Power 5 school, but for them not getting any love in the beginning, I think it's a little stab at them. UCF, I think they'll do better in Cincinnati in the American, so I think they should be ranked ahead of the Bearcats. Carolina, Mac Brown's got the Tar Heels believing they can play football. Them not being in the top 25, I think it's kind of travesty. San State's another one. The Mountain West has 0 representation, so no San Diego State, no Fresno State, the Boise State. Those are the big 3 of the Mountain West you really should keep an eye on, and none of them are even ranked. They're not even close enough to sniff the top 25 in the coaches preseason. But once again, this is preseason. After a few weeks, you'll definitely see some of these games the schools start to separate as the games play on. And some of the key matchups out of the gate that will really shake up the polls. September 3rd, Notre Dame and Ohio State. That's right, 2 top 5 schools will collide early. This will kind of prove that Notre Dame is overrated. I'm an Irish fan. I can say that. Ohio State should have no issues dispatching the Irish. And we go from there. And then Utah and Florida. I know there's not a lot of talk about Florida. They're just that dismal right now. They're starting to try to rebuild, get that swagger back in the swamp. But taking on one of the 10-year stops of Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was at Utah. Urban Meyer was at Florida. So, see those two go head-to-head right away. That would kind of determine whether or not Utah is legitimate being up there in the top 10. Oregon and Georgia. This is a huge matchup as well. See how Georgia has restocked their toolbox. See how the Ducks can close out games and how they can handle the SEC. So it's going to be a very important game between 2 of them. But for Georgia, if they lose this one, they may find themselves outside looking in. If Oregon loses this one, they can still make the playoffs. I think it's just how the heavily favored SEC is, that Oregon consider Georgia a good loss and still try and make a playoff run. Some of the other ones, not so many other big key matchups in the early season that really get anything going. Arkansas and Cincinnati going off early. That will really determine who stays in the top 25 right out the gate. That goes down September 3rd. The surprise Roadrunners out at UTSA is going to take on Houston September 3rd as well. It's a little battle of South Texas here. And for the Roadrunners, I don't see them repeating what they were. They ran out of the gas at the end of the season. And the talent they had has already been drafted out. So I don't see the Roadrunners really getting a 11-win season. They'll be lucky if they get bowl eligible, in my opinion. The Backyard Brawl is back. That's right, September 1st. West Virginia and Pittsburgh will collide once again. It's been a while since these two met. Nice to see that this rivalry gets rekindled. And it should be a good matchup. And I think West Virginia might pull off the upset. And you don't get too far into the weeds on this one, but I think those are some of the bigger key matchups coming up that you're going to see in the beginning of the season very, very quickly. But I'll really go more in depth into these matchups towards that time frame for the week 0/week 1 previews. But this should be very interesting. So just kind of recap the preseason top 25 coaches poll. Definitely had some unique teams and positions, especially with Notre Dame and Texas. I think both of those are right now overrated. And the Big Ten is getting a little underrated, while Utah is also getting underrated. But there's a lot of football to kind of process and go through and kind of see how things kind of play out from the start of the season, from opening kickoff in the weekend of August 27th, all the way through week 1. You'll definitely start the separations of a lot of programs right out the gate. But right now, everyone's in the hunt until you start seeing those losses start to populate and you start seeing teams get eliminated. Now, I may or may not do a playoff eliminator video series as well to kind of go over with these recaps and previews for each week. This is something that I could start doing as well. It tend to be a very popular trend with a bunch of viewers of other channels. So I may tap into that market as well to kind of boost my numbers a bit and see what happens. But keep you here for any other news right now. For realignment aspects, it looks like everything's kind of calm for right now. Things are going to concentrate on the season, and once the television contracts start getting signed, then you might start seeing some noise afterwards about schools signing here and there. But hey, let me know down below what you think. Which team do you think is overrated? Do you think Alabama and Ohio State are bound to meet at the end of the year for the national championship? Once you're down there and make that comment, you can also hit that thumbs up once again. It really helps the channel. You can also share this video with your friends and family. It really helps promote this channel out. And once you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification. Let you know next time I post a video. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.